Hey guys, welcome to my podcast, episode 3. And today I'm going to talk about reflecting on two major mistakes I wish I had avoided in my journey from JavaScript to TypeScript. So, if you are joining today, uh, I am Nish and I'm a full time developer, and I'm sharing my journey from JavaScript to TypeScript and sharing mostly my experience, mistakes I made, good things I did, and not only that, it's just pretty much how it went as a psychological changes or how I felt about that. And yeah, I thought it would be nice to share with you guys so someone can get some benefit if somebody is starting to uh, think and do the same thing. All right, guys. So even though I marked them as two, they are kind of related. And not only that, uh, the reason I tagged these two as major is based on my personal uh, feeling that how this would help for a listener. And I'm definitely did more than or done more than two mistakes. Um, I will share in other episodes when we are moving forward. But definitely, I think it's really worth to share these two major mistakes I feel personally um, I would have avoided uh, if I knew that time uh, that I'm doing it a bit wrong. So, guys, first one is spending more time with secondary resources uh, instead of documentation. Um, I think it's a common thing most of the engineers do. In my experience, I have done, and it's for a reason we all know. Sometimes documentations are dry, uh, and sometimes we found more resources. I remember those days, many years ago, books were kind of the major resource we had. Uh, Not even ebooks. Uh, but then eventually to ebooks we transferred. But sometimes we found books were more better than the documentation in some cases. But in this particular case, I think I was somewhat wrong because I spent most of the time looking for forums and looking for other video, audio resources. And I think pretty much I spend too much time with that. Oh, I kind of missed the right balance, I would say. I spent some time with the documentation, but the ratio I feel wasn't right or could have been better. Um, I mean, this insight now I get, I mean, after being for many years and also uh, after starting daily TypeScript as a major language or the main language. But the reason I'm saying that this TypeScript documentation is somewhat um, better compared to most of the documentations you might encounter in tech stacks. Uh, I'm I'm so glad they have done in such a way, and also, guys, documentation evolved as well. Uh, but the current documentation is really good. Um, I would highly suggest if you if you really want to start, if you start at the right point, you will get the taste of the documentation, and they have structured in such a way now we can grasp the knowledge easily. Especially, guys, my favorite section is 5 minutes tooling section, where actually we are trying to do a JavaScript starting with the JavaScript piece of code and adding TypeScript features on top of that, so we can see the improvement, the value we are getting by those minor improvements. And of course, there is another documentation part saying TypeScript for JavaScript programmers, for a new programmer, C#, Java programmer. So there are lots of short documentation we can start with, and that will definitely give you a good taste of the TypeScript. So yes, guys. So it's more about I spend more time with the other resources, not prioritizing the documentation. I would definitely recommend anybody who is joining or thinking about joining the TypeScript community. Please start with the documentation. You might feel a little bit dry at the beginning, but if you start with that particular section, as I mentioned, the 5 minutes tooling, or the language like JavaScript for TypeScript for JavaScript programmers, that kind of a short thing, you will find it's interesting, I'm sure. And guys, one thing I need to let you know, I'm not telling this documentation is perfect, because even I found some of the core information a bit scattered. You might looking for that particular thing, but you might find it somewhere completely different. But those core points are really, really helpful for you to understand, especially if you're coming from the JavaScript background like me. Uh, um, because I think, guys, the major thing that documentation should convince for a programmer is what is the value we are getting by spending time with this programming language, a new language. Given that JavaScript is super cool language, I know that it has pitfalls like the things that actual TypeScript now fixing, but it's one of the cool language I have worked in my life in the industry. All right, guys. So that's the first one, and the second one is not spending enough time on the landing page of the documentation. I mean, you might find this bit kind of weird, but for some reason, I don't know, it's probably just me, I didn't spend much time with the landing page. But landing page has pretty much the message itself for a JavaScript programmer, why you should start with TypeScript and what you get with TypeScript, and the real core bit very intuitively presented on this landing page. And I don't know, I just wanted to find the exact answer, so I jumped into the core areas, and I started a different way, like we all do, guys. We are kind of trial and error. I mean, so to say, I didn't miss much, but I want to say I would have done it better if I started with the landing page. I mean, looking back, of course, I think landing page has got lots of meat of this TypeScript language, especially answering all our why questions, which is really important. So to say, then we get this the good feeling to spend more time with the TypeScript documentation, or studying it or practice it. So definitely, I feel my major second mistake I wish I could have avoided was not spending enough time with the landing page. Of course, guys, lesson learned. Now I spend, and I'm applying the same lesson learned with the other documentations as well. But I think, to be honest, I didn't find much of the other tech stuff have same kind of I can't replicate the same good landing pages. I mean, they look nice, but the core informations are not there. I mean, currently I'm working on the blockchain side, but I don't want to particularly point it to one documentation, but many of the documentation you need to dig in and find what you want. I mean, it's our job anyway. But in the TypeScript, I would say it's really worth spending good amount of time with the landing page and try out the things. And even sometimes, guys, I felt how they use the title and the text bodies and everything to emphasize stuff are done very good as well. So you will see if it's kind of in the big letters, it's definitely they're trying to make a key point. If it's in bold, it's not just kind of look and feel good. It's more about, I feel it's really emphasizing that we should spend some time to understand a bit. So yeah, guys, so I highly suggest you spend a little bit extra time on the landing page. It's not taking that much time, probably 5 minutes a day. I mean, now I seriously, honestly, I do that. I spend as a refresh my knowledge and refresh my kind of reminding me myself about this language. So I spend landing page and 5 minute tooling section, JavaScript for TypeScript for JavaScript programmer section. I'm spending time. Of course, I'm spending time with the handbook and reference examples as well, but mostly I spend with the landing page. That's the minimum thing I spend every day. I at least visit to the TypeScript and see the thing. Uh, I can't say I'm guys biased to this language, but I have to say this is something I really missed in JavaScript. It's like you discovering a treasure. And the great thing is, it's something that you already know, something you've been spending more than 10 plus years seriously working on software products, and now you get this great tooling on top of that that makes your life so much easier, and also reusing your existing skills is a super great feeling, guys. That's the reason I'm actually trying to um, share my things with the community. That's really worth spending time with TypeScript if you are especially coming from the JavaScript background. I can assure you will love it. You will definitely fall in love with this language. So it's my natural passion actually. I'm sharing, and that's why I started this podcast, YouTube, and all other platforms, just focusing on this TypeScript journey, because I think it's something that I found. It's a kind of a rare moment in a tech guy life, that reusing something. Of course, we can bring our existing skills like the things I learned in Java, C Sharp, Haskell, Go. I can bring to another language, but as something that have the feeling that something you spend a great time of your life is still gonna guarantee to save for another 10 or for the future is a great feeling, guys. So yeah, so I definitely suggest you to look into the documentation uh, to see whether you get the same kind of thoughts or feeling as I shared now. So guys, just to recap the two major mistakes: spending more time with secondary sources compared to the documentation or instead of the documentation, and the second one is not spending enough time on the landing page of the TypeScript documentation. So yeah, so guys, yeah, I think that's pretty much I wanted to share with you in this episode. So if you are coming new to this journey, hopefully these 2 points will help you to understand. Especially guys, now you will see lots of things, knowledge sharing in this language is so much saturated now, uh, and you might be unknowingly spending more time, I would say non-productive time, if you just carried away with that kind of secondary sources. So it's fine, but if you have to have a balance, spend major portion of your time with looking into these official documentation, so you won't face the same kind of I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, but I would say not so productive time like I faced. Um, and guys, as for the minimum, I would say at least try to spend sometime with the landing page, so you will get um, some sort of like a refresher of your knowledge. That's my minimum thing per the day. I will spend a little bit extra on the landing page. I know I'm kind of reading the same thing again and again, but every day I find something new, guys. So I discover something new. So that's really worth it. All right, guys. I think that's it's time to conclude this episode. So thank you very much for listening for my podcast. Um, I'm new to this space of podcast, but I use this as a way of sharing behind the scene of my journey, because in the YouTube and other channels I'm sharing kind of the knowledge, but I think if someone find this information about the journey itself, uh, if they are also starting uh, the same thing what I have been doing for last few years. So all right, guys, so we'll catch up in the my next episode. I am thinking to focus on the psychological aspect, how I felt when I'm dealing with this new language, um, and the two approaches, the mind shift of those two approaches, how they changed drastically uh, my view towards learning TypeScript. All right, guys. So until that, um, thank you very much again, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Cheers, guys.